Hello, everybody. Welcome back. A lot of things are changing in my world right now, and not just my hair. So, this is going to be a live chat. I'm going to talk a little bit about the rebrand that I am now working on full force for my author platform. I'm an indie author, a USA Today bestselling author, but I've decided it's time for a rebrand. I'm going to share a little bit about why, how long that's looking like it's going to take. Hey, AF, what that means for those of you who read my books, and then what that means for those of you who are writers who are following my journey because you're trying to learn for your own journey. So, just to give you a little backstory, I started out, hey, Luna, my journey, having a lot of experience with the traditional side of publishing, but not as much indie. So back in 2020, I hired a mentor who was amazing. And her name is Lindsay with Of Ink and Pearls Publishing. And I sat down with Lindsay and told her I had no idea where to really start from the self publishing side for real to do this. And Lindsay was great at guiding me through different aspects of setting up my author platform. Hey, Alex, so good to have you all on. Um, but I, being new back in 2020 to the self publishing side, didn't know what I didn't know, right? And one of the things Lindsay kept telling me was that I needed to decide on author branding that was going to be consistent with my publishing path. Not just the books that I had that I was getting ready to publish, which was The Vow That Twisted Fate, this book, but in the future. And I didn't understand it because I think I fell into a trap that a lot of indie authors do, where you only look at the book you're putting out now. And I'm like, well, here's what this book is about. And she kept trying to get me to see things on a bigger picture. And I just couldn't wrap my head around it at that point in my writing journey. And as Vow came out, it did really well. And I started releasing other books from my early writing years, ones that are new to you guys, but I wrote in my teens, like Splitting Dawn, that came out in the Realm of Darkness set. I realized that the books that I'm writing now don't match the genres that I used to write and that I enjoyed. And I think that those books were important, but I didn't take into consideration that some readers would really love aspects of the noble, bright, epic fantasy or the dark fantasy romance that I was putting out. And then when I got ready to shift into the books that I write today, which are dark epic fantasies or borderline grim dark epic fantasies with some mythological elements and very little romance, that I could potentially lose a lot of the readers that I had spent a lot of time and collaborations and finances to connect with. And so I think what I did to build my readership was great for the release of the books I was putting out. But I reached a point where, with the Lord's Gambit series, I saw a drastic shift in ratings of my books, but no real bad reviews. A lot of my favorite readers who were leaving 5 stars on all my other books started giving like 3 stars to Oracle of Life. And then Monk of Death was a little better. But as I started releasing more of those dark books, I realized that maybe my readership didn't match. And so I sat down and I put the books side by side. And I looked at old Katherine books and current Katherine books and realized there's some drastic differences in what those brands are. And as an author, it clicked with me what Lindsay had been trying to tell me the entire time before I pushed for the USA Today list or did any of that. She was like, this Realm of Darkness set that Splitting Dawn was going to be in is a great opportunity, but do you want to write dark fantasy romance? And I was like, if it gets me on the USA Today bestseller list, what does it matter? It mattered because I built up a platform of thousands of readers and fellow writers across all of my platforms. I think Reedsy has like 8,000 or 7,000 now. And I built those readers to follow a specific type of book. So when that changed, I lost connection with a lot of people. So it's taken me about a year and a half of a break to sit down and identify what I wanted to change. Did I want to go back to writing the old Katherine books that got me this platform? Did I want to create a new pen name, which I branched out into for a Kindlevella that I'm doing? Did I want to keep this pen name and rebrand? Um, and ultimately, what I've come to the conclusion of is that I'm going to keep my Katherine D. Graham brand, and I will be transitioning out away from the noble bright epics and the dark fantasy romances and into that dark slash grimdark epic fantasy for the most part. And I'm still planning on finishing the Splitting World series. I have the final volume that's about to go out to ARC readers in the next couple weeks. I just sent a Lord's Gambit book off to one of my beta readers yesterday. And so don't worry, your series are still going to be completed. I'm not going to leave you hanging. But going forward, my social medias, my book plans, and things like that are going to shift to reflect the style of books that I'm writing. And if you're watching this as a reader and you're like, oh, I don't really like that, it's okay. I understand. It means the world to me that you've supported my books. I hope that you'll stick around till the rest of your series are done. But I also want to make sure that I'm connecting with the correct readers. So this transition is going to take place over the next couple months. There is a lot that goes into this, and I am recruiting expert help beyond myself to try to help me rebrand. So I reached out to someone who's going to help me sort of refigure my social media presence. I have my website, which I can share here. I've taken down my newsletter temporarily, and I am reworking my website. I started the website rebrand last summer in July. I had hoped to have it done in the fall, but I will actually be redoing. So this whole color scheme you see here with the pinks and the flowers and the blues was all supposed to play into that sort of fantasy romance, epic fantasy, the noble bright hope themes. These colors all had symbolism that matches into that. So I'm looking at redoing everything from colors to the feel of the overall website to the blogs to how I have information set up on like my books that you see here. So I've got to really, there's a lot of pieces moving in here. Like you see, there's book trailers in here, there's character art in here, and I have to figure out how this is all going to fit up. Oh, thank you so much, Alex. If it has your name, I'm reading it. Oh, that means the world. So noticeable places that I'll be changing my branding are on things like my site where I'm trying to change the overall feel. I will be restarting the blog to track this journey because if you followed me for any length of time, you know that I have always been very open and transparent about what this was like, all the way back from what subgenre am I writing, because I don't know. That's part of why I'm sharing this YouTube video. If you're an indie author and you're not sure how to set up your branding, hopefully you'll find the videos that I'll be sharing over the next few months helpful as I struggle through it so you don't have to. And if you're thinking about a rebrand, I suggest reaching out to your writer community for suggestions. Yesterday, I reached out to two of my major writing community support groups, the IFA authors group and the Writing Gals group, which was amazing. And they gave me great thoughts on whether I should start completely all over again for things like my Instagram and my Facebook presence, where I noticed my activity has gone down in the year and a half I've been away, but I had a brand that I'm trying to build there. And they gave me some great advice. They were like, noble, bright, and dark epic isn't all that different to the point where it would warrant necessarily a whole new Facebook page, a whole new Instagram page, losing all your followers. When some of those followers would happily, like Alex, you're amazing, would happily follow you into a new book, a new series. And so what I will be doing is as I lean further into this dark epic fantasy feel over the next few months, you're going to see content from me shifting to reflect that tone A lot of the old posts have now been taken down. I will still leave up. I am not getting rid of. I will still leave up my books. I am revamping Oracle of Life and Monk of Death. I sent Oracle of Life out to a beta reader too, because I want to get some opinions on the quality and make sure that it meets the quality that I want to present to you guys, that matches up to like Splitting Dawn and Vow: The Twist of Fate. So you could still find my books on Amazon, Goodreads. I publish through Draft to Digital. I'm wide for almost all of my books except the Slayer Queen books. So you can still read the books during those times. If you purchase the ebook now, while they're all 99 cents, then when the new version comes out, it's my understanding you'll get an update that there's a new interior, and you can just update to the newly revised, newly edited interiors. So my books aren't leaving. And I think for those who didn't know, when I started this journey back in 2020, I had dabbled in self-publishing several years prior, just for 2 books. I did nothing with it. I didn't get them edited. I did get a nice cover for one of them, but I used Amazon covers for the other one. And those books are unpublished. They're not available anywhere. I didn't know anything about marketing, about setting up socials, nothing. So I just threw them on Amazon and let them flop, and they rightfully flopped. And when I came back and did my first epic fantasy, my debut epic fantasy with Val, I wanted to do this right. I think I did it right for what it was. But if you're coming in going, I don't want to end up where you are, having to rebrand 4 years after starting this journey, then I, as a fellow writer who has gotten this wrong and is restarting, can't encourage enough that you think not about the book that you're currently trying to publish today, but whether that is a book that you enjoyed publishing enough that 5 years from now, you're still going to want to be publishing that book or those kinds of books. If this is an old trunk book like mine was, Splitting Dawn was a trunk book and Vow was a trunk book, and you don't write those genres anymore, maybe you should consider your branding, not releasing those books. You can still release them, but your actual branding, the presence, the kind of author you say you are around who you are today, the books you write today, the books you want to be writing 5 or 10 years from now, and then release those past books as one-off books. You know, when we think Stephen King, we think of horror, but Stephen King also has fantasy books and other kinds of books that are not just horror books. And that's because Stephen King writes what he wants to write. So you don't have to fit necessarily into one box. So don't take this live as it wasn't a one size fits all. You have to pick one genre. That's not the point. I think for me specifically, it was the absence of romance that I'm going into that makes the books a little different. Because if you really love romance and you love happily ever afters and you love the couples ending up together, you're not gonna like the Lord's Gambit series, where in all but 2 of the books, there's not necessarily a happy ending. It's a bittersweet ending, or a happy for now, and then later you find out not the best, leading up to what I hope will be an overall ending with a really deep meaning. And I have nothing against happily ever afters. But I'm saying if I have an audience that relies on those and then they pick up my books, it could definitely be disappointing going forward. So I want to make sure that I'm managing reader expectations and I'm presenting my brand in a way that is going to relay that. So you're going to see some big changes coming on my social, on the kind of posts that I put up, what those posts are going to look like. I will be resuming my old series, getting them done, resolved, knocked out, clean cut so that you're not missing anything. And my goal is to have Splitting Worlds, which is the last one that's getting ready to go off to ARCs in a couple weeks, or not ARCs, to beta readers in a couple weeks. That one I'm hoping to have done relatively soon this summer. It is the last book in the series, so it will not get a giant launch like the first in series books do. And then I also want to finish up the Lord's Gambit series for you guys after that. And then from there, it's on 2 new series, some of which I haven't talked about at all, some of which I have been writing on the side. Maybe I need to take a note from Brandon Sanderson and write like a bunch of secret series, but Starfire Express is the biggest one that I'll really be diving into when I shift the brand over. So that is what's going on my end, why I'm doing it. I hope to reach more readers, to not disappoint readers that I once had that I no longer write toward as much, and also really to make sure that the brand that I establish for myself is still where I see myself writing down the line. I hope this has been helpful, and I thank you all so much for sticking with me. Yes, Starfire Express. I am in the process right now of looking for cover designers for Starfire Express. I've reached out to Mibble Art. I've reached out to my dream cover designer's agent, but it has been a couple weeks that I haven't heard back, so I don't know whether to be like, oh, sadness, or what there. But I have some videos coming up that are going to be showing me budgeting for a new book release. There's going to be one about budgeting for a Kickstarter. That's a spoilers for Alex and whoever else is into Starfire Express. Going into 2024, because in a lot of ways, rebranding is like starting all over again. I don't have to build my social from scratch or my website from scratch, but I do have to get new colors designed and put together. I've got to decide whether I'm keeping my logo or moving the logo, and change up my templates for like my graphics, which I use Canva for. So there's going to be a lot that goes into that. And hopefully, even if you've never had a brand, you're setting one up for the first time, you will find this helpful a little bit. So yeah, this is really exciting. I'm so sorry that I have been quiet about my writer journey lately. There's a lot that's gone into making this decision. And the social media decision that I posted about in IFA group and Writer Gals group yesterday was like the last thing that I was like, what am I going to do about socials? Am I going to start a whole new profile? Am I going to keep the one I have? If you ever heard the term scrubbing, that's where you get rid of inactive followers. So followers who haven't been on since like 2021 or 2022. Then the algorithms are rating you lower because you aren't getting engagement from those people. Keeping my existing socials, which I am doing, I'm going to keep my existing socials, means scrubbing my socials. And that is a long, involved process that deserves a video in and of itself. So yeah, do you guys have any questions about branding as an author, rebranding as an author, about my journey specifically I can answer before we hop off? Got a lot of people on Twitter and on YouTube. Thanks for showing up. Thank you so much, Luna. Yeah. I know readers like Alex and Luna have been patiently waiting for me to finish out some of these series that I started. I left them hooked on. Awesome. All right, everybody. I will leave the replay up if you joined late and want to go back and reread them. Oh, thank you so much, Alex. Yeah, I hope that my journey is helpful to others. If you do not end up 4 years from now having to rebrand because you were confused like I was when I started by going through this with me, then this is a win. This is the whole reason I do YouTube. So if you would like to support my author journey, a huge like and a subscribe would mean the world, because this is not a monetized video. And as much as I love you guys reading my books, a lot of us are authors and we don't have time to read every book. So thank you so much. I look forward to sharing the entire rebrand publishing process in 2024 with you guys. Take care, everybody. Bye. Best of luck.